Hello, this is Brett from Survival Comps, and this is a short video on my sleeping setup, or my bedroll, whatever you want to call it. And I typically use the same equipment for backpacking that I use for a bug-out bag, get-home bag, or anything of that nature. The system I use does have some modularity to it, and typically my preferred shelter for backpacking and hiking is a hammock, and all of this stuff could work for hammocking. And also, should I be able to take advantage of some kind of a structure or shelter to keep myself out of the weather, I could certainly do so with this same kit. So it's multifunctional in that regard. We'll start out with my sleeping pad. This is a Thermarest Ridge Rest sleeping wrap mat, and it's a closed cell foam, so there's no air or anything involved in it, and it's extremely light. The weight of the pad alone is only 9 ounces. And I've just got some 550 cord with some Fastex buckles to secure it and to attach it to my pack. And on the inside of it here, in this configuration, I have a Tyvek ground cloth right here. And I have your typical 55-gallon drum liner. The 55-gallon drum liner is multifunctional. You can use it as a part of a bivy system if you needed to, or if it was really blowing. You're going to get some condensation in it, but it's better than getting everything wetted through with precipitation. And also, these things, when you take and you stuff these with debris, soft debris, and you stuff it to about 6 inches of thickness, that's a really good night's sleep on a hard surface, building your own mattress with something like that. This is how I would typically set it up if I was taking shelter in a structure. The nice thing about a closed cell foam pad like this is heaven forbid you did end up needing to make a field expedient splint for a wounded limb. You can do so utilizing these closed cell foam pads, and they do make effective splints. And due to the size of it, depending on how big of a splint you would need to make, you can still actually maintain the usefulness of the pad itself for its intended purpose as a sleeping pad. Now, what I typically use all year long in my environment for a sleeping bag or a blanket or quilt or whatever you want to consider it is this Wiggy's insulated poncho, which is basically built to the same size and specifications as a GI poncho liner, but it has a hood on it. So this right here makes an effective replacement for a puffy jacket. So around camp, if you needed to stay warm. Also, sleeping in a hammock, a sleeping bag is not ideal because you're compressing the insulation along the entire back side of the sleeping bag itself, which necessitates the use of a pad to keep your back warm. And in temperatures, typically below freezing, you're going to need some kind of an underquilt in order to maintain comfort. You can see here I'm using my insulated poncho right now as a camp outerwear to stay warm. Now, if I wanted to go ahead and utilize this as a sleeping system or as a quilt, I've made a modification. And what I've done is I've just run a section of shock cord with a couple of cinch locks along this seam inside of the base of the poncho. So essentially, I can take this here make a foot box, and then wrap this around here. And it's not, you don't ever want to tie a knot in shock cord, you won't get it untied. Taking this, which is tied to one of the snaps, and what this does is this allows myself to fasten the bottom of this to complete the foot box. So I take the snap to the other snap on the bottom and put it together. Cinch down the hood. And now I have my quilt with footbox configured. Now my sleeping bag that I use, and I only typically use this if the temperatures are going to be below freezing, and I've used this in conjunction with the quilt down to 28, and I've been completely comfortable in that configuration, is the GI green bag, the patrol bag, the MSS green bag, outer bag. It's extremely roomy. It's extremely inexpensive. You can get these for about $25 surplus in fairly good shape. They have a very durable zipper on it that's not going to get damaged on you. And the weight of it is 40 ounces for the bag, which is not bad. Typically they rate these things, it's supposed to be freezing and above. Anything below 40 for me, it starts to become uncomfortable unless I'm pretty much wearing a full set of long underwear, socks, and a sleeping hat. There's a couple ways to use the insulated poncho in conjunction with this patrol bag. It's fairly simple to build a sleep system to where if you need to keep your arms free with the insulated poncho and the patrol bag, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll remove that device I use to make a foot box and place that somewhere where I won't lose it. Take all of your fasteners, your snaps, there it is, and just like your poncho, snap your straps together. Place your poncho close to you, get into your sleeping bag, secure your sleeping bag, zipping it up all the way, placing your shoulders like such, then grabbing your insulated poncho and just throwing this over you. And encapsulating yourself. And this way you can keep your arms free if you needed to. You can pull them back inside the poncho. And you've got enough of the sleeping bag inside of here where you can actually take that and tuck that up and around yourself to keep your torso warm. And then just lay out. You need your arms to come out. That's all there is to it. Now to use the insulated poncho to augment the sleeping bag rating of the green bag. The green bag itself is sized to fit the black bag inside of it in the MSS. And the black bag, of course, is much larger in loft than the poncho liner is. So, to make this work, what I do is go ahead and make a foot box, just like we did before. And I use a snap strap down here. Insert this into your foot box of your sleeping bag. Folding this over. Inserting yourself into said sleeping bag. And we just lost power. So good. Got a technical blow going on right now. Tucking your poncho liner up and around you. And cinching your hood down. Mummy style, just like that. Complete of weight of everything in this configuration is 80 ounces. And that being the case, this right here is sufficient for the coldest temperatures I would ever encounter in my particular environment. And when carrying it, I don't use stuff sacks. I just use a trash can liner as a rucksack liner. And I just merely stuff my sleeping bag in the very bottom. Put my insulated poncho liner on top of that. And then I will put my clothing bag on top of that. Close that up. And And as I compress it down, I could add my food and other items. And then this right here rides on the outside. Just like that. Well, I hope this helps. This is Brett from Survival Comps. Till next time.